Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm doing actually see what's going on on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today. Don't mind me just opening up Neopets on my other monitor. Very late night episode today, mainly because I was busy for a lot of it. So you know, here we are now. Here we are once again, torn into pieces. Basically went to go meet up with a friend or some friends. We did a pub quiz, and that was basically that. Did we win? No, we came second. It was, well, actually, the team won first, so we're like 3 points ahead. But weren't too many. It was the entire quiz itself. It must have been out of like 40 or something. So it was like a decent margin. But anyway, good evening, everyone. I'm here with a late night broadcast. I hope I can make it through this. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 12:06 AM on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. I did get a free drink from it though, so, you know, I got that going for me. Not really much else to say about it, I suppose. You know, pub quiz is nice. It wasn't at the usual place we usually do our pub quizzes. And how was it? It was fine. And nothing crazy, I think. Nothing as crazy as our usual haunt for pub quizzes. Apparently where the story's advanced in the Neopets one. Apparently we went to visit the Grey Fairy. I don't know we had so many things. Oh, because it's 1st of July, of course. So we have all of this stuff which we can get rid of. What am I going to talk about today? You might be like, oh, dear darling, are you watching the Euros 2024 right now? And the answer is no, I'm not. No, well, not really. I've said it before. I'm not really a football person or a soccer person, I suppose, if you're American. But it is kind of a thing which most people are talking about, I suppose, by nature of being in Europe, and the fact that not just the United Kingdom, but England itself is a very sort of football heavy nation, and the fact that most people here really quite like football, and I don't mean that as a bad thing or anything like that. Just more like an observation, if anything. People like football. That's fine, I suppose, as long as you're reasonable, I suppose, with your support of it, rather than being particularly crazy about a hooligan, essentially, about it. But you might be like, oh, you know, did you watch the England versus Slovakia game which happened? I don't know. It's weird because I'm very much on the outside looking in, I think, when it comes to football, you know. About what's going on. So, you know, all my opinions that are formed about football or whatever's happening is very much things that I've just sort of picked up from hearing what people say and people talk about. Excuse me. I think one of the major things is that people are not very impressed with the England football manager right now, if I recall. People are just sort of like, oh, we're doing sort of like nothing, as I understand it, throughout all of it. So we're like playing so passive. And then, you know, if you don't know what happened during the England versus Slovakia game, is Slovakia got a goal or something at like 20 something minutes in. Football's played in 90 minutes in total. So like 20 something minutes in, Slovakia got a goal, and then like by the time it hit like minute 90 or something, most people sort of resigned, being like, oh, England's being eliminated because it's the round 16 for the 8th finals, I guess is what no reasonable person would call it that, but that's what it is. And then somehow, out of nowhere, England scored a goal at like the 90th minute, and then they scored again in extra time to make it 2-1, which is just like really put it back from a brink of disaster, whatever. And a lot of people are very sort of angry, not angry at the fact we won, but it felt like a very undeserved win or something. A lot of people were just like, oh, you know, Slovakia should have won that or whatever, but then people were like, oh no, Slovakia played it just super passively as well, not doing anything, trying to park the bus as soon as they scored a goal, which is not just a spirit, I suppose, of football, but like a bad strategy or something. I generally don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of like general outrage over England's performance thus far, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come in the future. Which is weird because I'm pretty sure we did very well in the last World Cup, right? Like, hold on. England World Cup standing. Didn't we get like... Did we get to like the semi-final or something? I don't remember. Next round. How do I... 2022. These are the groups. World Cup table and standings. FIFA World Cup. We came top of a group. All tables. How do I don't know, Wikipedia? England at the FIFA World Cup. Of course 1966 we did one. We did one. We did win. Qatar 2022, that was it. What do we get to? In the quarterfinals we lost 2-1. 100th minute. Something like that. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, what I was going to say is the fact that we did pretty well or whatever. I don't know if we'll still do necessarily well. I think, like, how good is England at the World Cup or football in general? I mean, like, we're still probably decent, but we're not, like, amazing or anything, right? As I understand it? It's hard to judge these things subjectively because I feel like, you know, British people in general are also quite negative or downers when it comes to, or you know, like expressing strong opinions or emotions or something. Myself included, or very sort of just like mild-mannered when it comes to it. Which, whether that's good or bad, I suppose, is perhaps up for your own judgment. But it's the sort of thing where I find it very hard to judge exactly how good we are because, one, I don't watch football, so, you know, who knows how skillful or not skillful we end up being. But I feel like it's weird, you know, people just tend to be like, oh, we're absolutely terrible or the worst or whatever. So, really, who can say how good or not good we are? In my opinion, I think we're pretty decent. That's sort of the impression I get. I mean, we have to be if we qualify for like further rounds most of the time. Do we do any? The overwhelming negativity you hear from people who watch, I suppose, the footballers, and the impression I get is that we are just utter trash. But some of it is, I'm sure, is very negative rather than necessarily one way or another. Or maybe not. Maybe it's all completely justified, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And that's honestly probably true. And by probably true, I mean it's true. But yeah, I don't know. It was very much the talk of the town in England. The fact that we pulled out a win out of nowhere in the very like last minute or something, and managed to stay in to fight Switzerland on Saturday? Question mark. I don't really remember, to be honest. Something like that. But yeah, I don't know what else I was going to say about that. It's just interesting, you know, like last minute comebacks. Very, very disheartening, I suppose. So if you're on the receiving end, but if you're one who actually did the last minute comeback, there's probably nothing more invigorating, right? Nothing that makes you go yes more than that. I guess the only like not relation, the only sort of like similar thing that I can draw upon would be like League of Legends or like a Rainbow Six Siege round or something where we like pull back from a brink of victory. I remember the longest League of Legends game I played. Oh, by the way, the thumbnail art is coming along. It's not almost done, but it's really getting there. So I might do a bit of drawing today. If not, I will finish it off tomorrow, I think. Even though there's art fight going on, you know, I had to skip a few days of art fight, I think, just to actually get this finished. But yeah, the thing I was going to say is the fact that I immediately forgot what I was going to say. Comeback victory. How we do it? We'll do like stonks coming down, then stonks up. And I guess I'll just do a small doodle of that as well. Tangent there, whatever. Yeah, like the longest League of Legends match I've ever played went on for like an hour and a half or something, and it was like the craziest comeback ever, where we were down like 15,000 gold or something, which is a huge deficit, by the way. And eventually, somehow, we just stayed in there, somehow, like, through the enemy's own hubris and through our own determination. And eventually, we managed to pull out the win in the most ridiculous way possible. Not even the most ridiculous way possible. I think we backdoored them or something. I don't really recall it, something along those lines. But those comeback victories, right, those are just sort of the sweetest things, and they'll feel so disheartening when they happen to you. So definitely always make sure you lock in your victories when you get the opportunity to. If you're in the lead, don't take them for granted, of course. But I don't know. I feel like you remember the comeback victories more than you remember the losses of the comeback losses. Is that what you call it? I don't know if you call it comeback losses. That sounds not necessarily even wrong, but it doesn't sound like the correct way to phrase it. But hey ho, here we go. A little too high and a little too low. Yeah, I don't know what else I was going to really say about that. Just sort of trying to think of another good one. There's probably been some in Rainbow Six Siege, not that I can really think of them off the top of my head. A little bit more difficult to sort of just pluck those out of nowhere, methinks. But yeah. Yeah. You might be like, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm also doing a bit of shiny colours at the same time, just so I can get it done. I don't have enough room on my know-how books to actually hold all these know-hows. I don't really think about that, but I think this is a good final one, but we'll see. So combat victories and that sort of things. And I mean, I feel like the combat victories, one reason though is it feels so fun as well is, you know, people like to root for the underdog, right? People like to root for the person who's going to come back from behind and, you know, take it all for that victory. In the end, I wonder what the greatest comeback in all of history was. Greatest comeback of all time. The one I always think about is that girl who's running like the 800 meters or something, and she fell over in the first lap, and then somehow she came from like half a lap behind the other runners to actually win the race in the most ridiculous way possible. Also, what about that guy, that Australian speed skater, who, but I'm not really, I guess it's kind of a comeback or whatever. Like he made it through his groups or something because like two of the fastest people crashed or something in front of him, and then the same thing happened in like, not the semi-final, maybe semi-final, I can't remember. And then when it came to the actual final, all the people in front of him crashed and he managed to win gold. His name's like something Bradbury, isn't it? Speed skater Australia, Roy Bradbury comes to mind, but Stephen Bradbury, that's it. And it was like the most unexpected gold medal in history. But it's a crazy, you know, sometimes it just happens like that. I don't know what the heck this is. The Guardians things. I need like a BuzzFeed thing, the greatest comebacks in history. Or whatever happens, of just like a huge deficit just to bring it back. Just through like raw tenacity, I suppose. Has it happened all that often to me? I don't really think so, to be honest. I like to think of myself as not often putting myself in a deficit in the first place. That's obviously not true, but you know, I like to pretend that I have enough control over that, such that that is true. It's not though. Yeah, a comeback victory. I don't know. It was just a crazy thing. But the craziest thing is because I wasn't watching the football, the England versus Slovakia game. It was just on or whatever. And then, like, I decided to join in watching around, like, the 88-minute mark or something. And I was looking, I was like, oh, I guess England's eliminated because we did not... We've lost this match. And then literally I only watched for a couple minutes, and then like, who was it? Like, it wasn't Harry Kane, it was the other guy who scored a goal, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from? We just randomly popped off and got a goal. And then I just continued watching for a few minutes more, and then they scored another goal, and I was like, well, okay, I guess we won. And then I stopped watching, and no more goals were scored. I was telling my friends about this, and they were just like, clearly you must be blessed. You watching a game is what makes England score a goal, not. And I was like, correlation is not causation, not bad. I'm a woman of logic after all, and I wouldn't dare and go against my nature of understanding. But how crazy would that be if that was your superpower? Your superpower is to influence whichever team you root for to win only when you observe them. I was going to say quaternion, that's not right. Like a superposition. You collapse a superposition into a winning state just through observation. Honestly, pretty nice superpower to have. You can make people sort of win on a whim just by observing them. Sorry, I'm opening up all my stuff at the same time. Just being efficient. I'm playing my games. Apparently, when new Genshin Impact modes come out, apparently pretty fun. I want to give it a whirl though. So I don't know. I guess I'll just round this episode up here. A bit of a shorter episode, but again, it's also past midnight, so can you blame me? So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. And likes, comments, subscription, shares greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now. Oh, hold on. Stop recording.